Stocks closed sharply lower on Wall Street as the stalemate over a deal to raise the debt ceiling continues. Some Republicans also raised questions about the accuracy of the June 1st deadline mentioned by Treasury Secretary Yellen in her several warnings about a potential default. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific open lower on weak cues from Wall Street. The SGX Nifty also signals a lower start for the Indian market. And expectations of stronger demand in the United States during the peak holiday season and a high likelihood of further production cuts by the OPEC lead crude prices higher. Brent now trades at around $77 a barrel. Ashok Leyland delivers an operational beat. Margins expand 200 basis points while volumes grow over 22% in what was a very strong quarter for the auto major. In a CNBC TV18 exclusive, Coal Minister Prahlad Joshi tells us that ambitious production targets will stay in place for this year. Also says that this year there will be no need to cut coal supplies to the non-power sector. Hi guys, good morning and welcome to Power Breakfast. I'm Pavitra. Those are the top headlines that we have for you. There's lots going on as far as the global, standoff on the debt ceiling talks continues. For our own markets also a lot of important cues coming through in stock-specific action. So we're going to get to all of that. But first up, a look at what's happening across Asia. We definitely got a very weak handover from Wall Street. And on the back of that, you have every Asian market which is in the red right now. What's seeing the biggest cut this morning is the Japanese market. So the Nikkei is down over 1%. Other markets up on your screen. So the Hang Seng is seeing a similar cut, 180 points gone over there as well. Taiwan down around 0.3%. The Shanghai markets are down 0.6%. So across the board for Asia, even the other ones that I haven't mentioned, Straits also seeing a bit of a cut. So across the board for Asia, there is a cut of between 0.25% to around 1% and, around 1.5% or so. But also bring the SGX Nifty up for you because it is indicating that we will get quite a pullback at the start of the session. Around 70 points lower is where we're at on the SGX Nifty. So that's what's happening across Asia. Definitely starting off on the back foot. But let's also take a look at the US markets now. Wall Street ended Tuesday's trading session lower, like we were mentioning. So both the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 closed with cuts of over 1%. The Dow Jones also finished around 200 points as the impasse over the debt ceiling really weighed. The street will now closely watch minutes from the US Fed's last policy meeting. The minutes are due to be released later today. So that is really the big cue that we're working with as far as the global markets go. But more on the debt ceiling negotiations that we were talking about. These have really taken center stage, like we've mentioned. And this continues even as a section of Republicans have questioned the Treasury Department's June 1st deadline for avoiding a default. We now have NBC's chief White House correspondent, Christine Walker, who's here with the details.
I'm going home.
Overnight, negotiators leaving the Capitol after urgent talks to raise the debt limit, showing signs of progress, but still no deal. It comes after a high-stakes Oval Office meeting earlier Monday between President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, both leaders describing the discussion as productive. Speaker McCarthy expressing optimism moments after the talks wrapped.
I think the tone tonight was better than any other time we've had discussions. I believe we can get it done.
In a statement after the meeting, President Biden saying, while there are areas of disagreement, the Speaker and I and our staffs will continue to discuss the path forward. The two sides have found some common ground, agreeing to recoup unspent COVID funds, which could save an estimated $30 billion, according to the White House. But key sticking points remain. Republicans are calling for deep spending cuts, which Democrats oppose, saying it could hurt programs like health care and education. Republicans also want new work requirements for food and housing assistance, but Democrats say that would punish poorer communities. The president wants to close tax loopholes for the wealthy, but Republicans say that's a non-starter.
So the problem is not revenue, the problem is spending.
I think revenue matters.
Adding urgency, in a new letter to Congress Monday, the Treasury Secretary forcefully reiterating the country's ability to borrow is highly likely to run out as early as June 1st. If the nation defaults or fails to pay the bills it's already spent, it could trigger an economic crisis, from a plummeting stock market, widespread job losses, and even a recession. Government payments would also be delayed for critical programs like food stamps, Social Security, and even benefits for Gold Star military families.
All right, so that is the latest on the debt ceiling negotiations. In fact, let's also listen into what former U.S. Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew, as well as Allianz's Chief Economic Advisor El Arian, had to say on the current negotiations, as well as the market's reaction that we're seeing to it. Listen in.
The truth of the matter is no one knows with perfect accuracy when the final deadline is. The money that moves in and out of the Treasury changes from day to day. There are events that you know are coming. You know their estimated tax revenues coming in June 15th. So the question is, can they get to June 15th? As to which day, June 1st through June 15th, you actually would go over the cliff, it's a mistake to gamble, because I can tell you, having been briefed daily when I was in that role, you have a sense of where you're going. You have a range of estimates, but you don't know with precision. And I think Congress needs to get its work done, and it can't wait till that last possible moment, or there's the risk of it being an accidental default, even if they're getting close.
We are sending a very negative signal about our ability to run our economy, let alone be an anchor for the rest of the world. And the market so far has actually dealt with it very well. There's three big uncertainties: the debt saga, whether the Fed is going to hike, pause, or skip at its next meeting, and of course, what's happening to credit. So I look at this market, and actually I'm very impressed by how stable it has been over the last month.
All right, so that is some important opinion coming in, and that's what we're looking at globally. But let's also talk about all of the cues that you should track as we get into this trading session. Our research team is here with the trade setup. Mangalam, Vivek, and Abhishek all join me now. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Vivek, let me come to you first for the cues that we should track for our own market. Is this, everything that's happening globally is really sort of affecting sentiment this morning. Looks like the start will definitely be in the red.
Well, you're absolutely right. Good morning. Now, the kind of uncertainty has actually led to quite a weak handover as far as the global markets are concerned. Even Asian markets are indicating a gap down start. Like you mentioned, U.S. indices ended lower between 0.7 to 1.26%. We'll talk a little bit about crude oil prices as well. Yesterday, they saw a bit of a jump up. Saudi energy minister has actually gone ahead and warned short sellers against going ahead and shorting crude oil futures. On the back of that, both Brent as well as WTI futures gained over 1% in the session yesterday. Now, yesterday's trading session, while the Nifty saw a very strong rally in the first half of the trading session, well, last hour sell-off, capped most of the gains as far as the Nifty was concerned, and it appears as though there's significant amount of selling pressure, at every higher level that the Nifty is witnessing. Now, when you're talking about the broader end of the market, the mid-cap continued their outperformance, which actually aided, the advance decline ratio in favor of the advances. Today, some important cues. We are coming towards the end of the earnings season, but quite a few mid-cap companies have delivered their results. Ashok Leyland, JSW Energy, Dixon Tech, Amara Raja, these companies will react to their results. Some important numbers today: Cummins India, Hindalco, as well as Nalco. Asian markets, like you mentioned, indicating a gap down start. SGX Nifty 2 is indicating a muted start for our markets.
Okay, muted start. Vivek, thanks a lot for getting us all of those cues. But let's also talk about the individual stocks that we should track. Abhishek is here with that entire list of stocks. Hi, Abhishek.
Good morning, Pavitra. So to begin with, Adani Total Gas, they have filed an appeal against the April 25th and 26th, 2023 order of PNGRB before the Appellate Tribunal for Electricity. So the company has accepted the authorization of Faridabad 2GA without prejudice. However, they are appealing now for Noida, Gurugram geographical areas as well. Shriram Properties has acquired a new project in Chennai. The revenue potential is about 1,200 crore is what the company says. There is also a block on the radar, Mahindra CI block deal. Sources tell CNBC TV18 that the promoter M&M will sell about 1.2 crore shares or about 3.2% equity in the block deal very soon. Kotak Securities is the broker, and the block deal may happen at a discount of around 5% to the CMP. Now, SpiceJet has increased the captain's salary to about 7.5 lakh per month. That is for 75 hours of flying. In Varun Beverages incorporates a wholly owned South African subsidiary to explore manufacturing and distribution business of beverages in that geography. Coming on to results, Ashok Leyland, both the net profit and revenue are ahead of our poll. Dixon Technologies, the consolidated net profit as well as the consolidated revenue are ahead of our poll. NMDC, the net profit is up 22.3%, but the revenue is down 13.8% on a YOY basis. Amar Raja Batteries, again a strong set of numbers coming in over there. Net profit growth of 41% YOY and revenue growth of about 11.5% on a YOY basis. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, thanks a lot for taking us through that very long list of stocks. But, good to have all of these on our radar ahead of the market open today. And finally, we have Mangalam, who's looking at cues from the futures and options space. Mangalam, the final session before expiry plays out tomorrow. Take us through what we should track.
That's correct. And the SGX Nifty is indicating that the start would be lower by about 70 odd points. But that's not all. In fact, yesterday as well, the market fell about 70 points from the highs. And irrespective of the news, as soon as the Nifty crosses that 18,400 mark, the bears start to get active. And over the last three sessions, on three occasions of the last 2 weeks, so the Nifty has gone past that 18,400 mark thrice, and we've seen a decline. In fact, on May 15th, we saw a decline of almost 60 points, and that's also the series high of 18,459. Then the next day, we saw a decline of 146 points from the highs. And yesterday as well, from 18,420, we saw a decline of 72 odd points. But it was the Nifty Bank as well as the Nifty Financial Services which declined in the last hour the most. The Nifty Bank has been underperforming for the last couple of trading sessions, and the Nifty Financial Services, of course, was on account of weekly options expiry. The cash market flows, the FIs and DIs, both of them buying in cash markets, so no problems out there, though the volumes on an overall level were much lower in terms of net institutional flows. What was positive, however, was the net buy by FIIs in index futures, 10,800 longs, close to 2,300 shorts. So that's telling you the FI long exposure has jumped up from 48% to 50-50 now ahead of expiry. In index options, not a lot of upside on the way up for the market. So a lot of the long calls unwound their positions, and we saw some 20,000 put contracts being added. But at the same time, incrementally, as the market's moving slightly higher and conquering newer levels, yesterday, for most part of the day, it was above 18,400 before falling in the last hour. So those who wrote calls actually caught on the wrong side and covered their positions, and we saw some put writing as well. So let's talk about those calls which were covered in terms of positions. So 18,200, nearly 35 lakh shares unwound their positions. 18,300 call also saw some unwinding of positions, but 18,400 call writers continue to hold steady because above 18,400 is resistance. However, what moving higher for the market has done is given confidence to put writers to go ahead and write puts at higher levels as well. So 18,300 put writers were very active, and now with the SGX Nifty indicating a decline, this is something that will come into picture in the first hour itself. 18,400 put writers too extremely active. The Nifty support has moved higher from 18,100 to 18,250, 18,300. Slightly below that is the 20-day moving average, 18,172, important support, even as we speak about congestion above 18,400. The Nifty Bank is something I'll be watching out for. Above 44,000 is congestion. Let's see whether it can sustain above that or not.
All right, let's see whether the Nifty Bank can sustain about 44,000. Mangalam, thanks a lot for bringing us all of those cues from the futures and options space as well. But with that, we're going to get into a short break on the show. When we return, we're going to bring you excerpts from our exclusive conversation with Minister for Coal and Mines, Prahlad Joshi. Stay tuned for that.
What does your investment portfolio look like without gold? Incomplete. Because as a gold owner, you have the power to make bold decisions. To balance risks and returns. The power to buy and sell right at your fingertips. Making gold your strategic advantage.
Without which your portfolio is incomplete.
Power your portfolio with gold. World Gold Council.
What if buildings could tell you how they could be more efficient?
I'm listening.
Well, with IBM, you can use software to help you connect and analyze data from heating and cooling to elevators to lights.
What if we use AI-driven insights to pinpoint inefficiency?
Yep, and act on it. Saving energy, money.
And emissions.
Yep, that's a big one. Now you've built something better for everyone. That's the sustainability solution IBM and a global real estate company created. What will you create? IBM, let's create.
पंजाब बदल रहा है, नई रफ्तार से चल रहा है। खेतों में उम्मीद उगी है, खड़ी फसल गुनगुना रही है, गीत बदलाव के गा रही है, पिंड में भांगड़ा मचल रहा है, पंजाब बदल रहा है। मुश्किल से मिलते हैं मुश्किल में साथी, यहां तो हरदम कोई खड़ा है। हर मोहल्ले का अपना क्लिनिक, फ्री में इलाज चल रहा है, पंजाब बदल रहा है। मोहाली बस स्टेडियम नहीं, स्टार्टअप का भी हब है अब। टेक्नोलॉजी के इस शहर को सबने इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए चुना है। हौसला यूथ का उबल रहा है, पंजाब बदल रहा है। आने वाले सुनहरे कल की देखो तो तैयारी। सरकारी स्कूल में अब तो शिक्षा मिलती है म्यारी। करप्शन पर जीरो टॉलरेंस, बिजली का बिल भी जीरो है। इस बदलते पंजाब में अब तो आम आदमी हीरो है। किया संकल्प के बदलेंगे, मंजिल पे जाके दम लेंगे। सोच नई, अप्रोच नई, नई रफ्तार से चल रहा है। पंजाब बदल रहा है। तरक्की का एक साल पंजाब के साथ।
एक है जमीन मेरी, एक है मौका मेरा, इसमें सब लगाऊंगा। अपने इरादों से मजबूत एक घर बनाऊंगा।
हाँ शुक्ला जी, भिजवाना सिर्फ अल्ट्राटेक ही।
अल्ट्राटेक ही क्यों?
आप ही ने तो कहा था कि घर जिंदगी में सिर्फ एक ही बार बनता है।
घर एक, मौका एक, इसलिए सीमेंट भी देश का नंबर 1। अल्ट्राटेक, इंडियाज नंबर 1 सीमेंट।
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast. Let's get you an exclusive conversation now. My colleague Abhimanyu spoke with Coal Minister Prahlad Joshi about Coal India's wage revision policy as well as the possibility of the state-owned company entering into a fuel price agreement. So let's listen in to some interesting excerpts from that chat.
It is a very happy moment because ultimately they have come to an agreement, both trade unions, management and all other concerned officers put together. They have worked it out and considerably they have done it well. I think 19.5% something they have done it, and it is a quite motivational to all workers, and I am hopeful that by this very important and good revision, coal warriors will work with more enthusiasm. And even Prime Minister's direction was that the welfare of the coalman should be kept in mind. That also have kept in mind, and I congratulate Coal India management also.
When can we expect a fuel price agreement hike from Coal India? It had last taken place in 2018 and there has been a buzz that it is overdue. By when can we expect some development on that front?
In fact, I can't say that there will be, it will be done or it will not be done, but I can only say that even when international prices are so high and our notified price is in keeping the overall interest of the public at large, we have kept it at 1534 notified price as of now, and we will see how, and let Coal India come with a proposal. After that we will see it, but it is a fact that now after the so much of cost escalation in production, that is the cost of the increase in the cost of production because of various factors, international factors rather, there is a need for that, but we will decide to do it or not to do it after consulting the Coal India management.
All right, those are some important takeaways from our conversation with the Coal Minister. But moving on, there's some more important news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, like we've been telling you, is on a 3-day visit to Australia. And on Tuesday, the Prime Minister addressed over 20,000 members of the Indian diaspora alongside his Australian counterpart, Anthony Albanese, in Sydney. He announced that a new consulate will be opened in the city of Brisbane very soon. The Prime Minister also noted that ties between India and Australia have been strengthened by the diaspora, and India aims to achieve stronger defense and security cooperation between the countries in the light of China's growing influence in the Indo-Pacific region as well. So that's important from the Prime Minister's visit to Australia. But with that, it is time for a break on the show. When we come back, we're going to talk about all of the cues from the commodity markets. Like we told you, there's a jump in crude prices, so we'll talk about that on the other side.
Yes, it's
It's okay for us to nod for everything. Because we are parrots. Yes. But your wealth manager? Shouldn't be doing that. You know?
Choose Nuvama. We only do what's right for you and your money. Nuvama. Let's do it right.
We don't just make new categories. We remake legends. In fact, we make the whole world of India's mobility new forever.
पंजाब बदल रहा है, नई रफ्तार से चल रहा है। खेतों में उम्मीद उगी है, खड़ी फसल गुनगुना रही है, गीत बदलाव के गा रही है, पिंड में भांगड़ा मचल रहा है, पंजाब बदल रहा है। मुश्किल से मिलते हैं मुश्किल में साथी, यहां तो हरदम कोई खड़ा है। हर मोहल्ले का अपना क्लिनिक, फ्री में इलाज चल रहा है, पंजाब बदल रहा है। मोहाली बस स्टेडियम नहीं, स्टार्टअप का भी हब है अब। टेक्नोलॉजी के इस शहर को सबने इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए चुना है। हौसला यूथ का उबल रहा है, पंजाब बदल रहा है। आने वाले सुनहरे कल की देखो तो तैयारी। सरकारी स्कूल में अब तो शिक्षा मिलती है मयारी। करप्शन पर जीरो टॉलरेंस, बिजली का बिल भी जीरो है। इस बदलते पंजाब में अब तो आम आदमी हीरो है। किया संकल्प के बदलेंगे, मंजिल पे जाके दम लेंगे। सोच नई, अप्रोच नई, नई रफ्तार से चल रहा है, पंजाब बदल रहा है। तरक्की का एक साल पंजाब के साथ।
Samsung Solve for Tomorrow is a national education and innovation competition. This is your chance to make an impact for India. Don't miss the opportunity to win prizes. So join the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow today.
Yeah, Ajay, look at your dad. Will we be the same at his age?
Absolutely yes, if we plan our future like him.
How?
My father had invested in LIC's Jeevan Akshay, which gives immediate and guaranteed annuity at regular intervals, that too for life.
Wow. But do we have to wait until his age?
Absolutely not. We recently invested in LIC's new Jeevan Shanti, which gives deferred annuity, which means regular income after some years.
I see.
LIC.
LIC's annuity plans give 10 annuity options and flexibility in receiving regular income. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ।
Hey guys, welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast. Let's talk about the commodities now. Manisha joins us. Manisha, you know, even earlier on the show, we were talking about how the up move in crude prices continues yet again.
Oh, well, yes, we're trading at a 3-week highs right now, and the prices did gain for 3 straight sessions. Today is going to be the 4th straight session that you are looking at prices trading in a firmer note. The latest trigger clearly comes in from Saudi Arabia oil minister warning the speculators on their short positions and telling them to watch out. The next OPEC and allies meeting is on 4th of June now, and there are expectations that the OPEC and allies could give some statements which would be supportive for the crude prices. Not just crude, if you look at the gasoline inventories, they have declined by 6.4 million barrels in the previous week. The Memorial Day holiday also kickstarts the summer driving season for US, and the markets are anticipating demand to pick up further from here. Demand already is at 2021 highs. So this is about demand supporting prices. But the other metals haven't behaved such. If you look at the silver prices, we're trading at a 2-month lows. Nickel is now trading at a 10-month lows. Zinc price is trading at 2.5-year lows. So it is a metal space where the absence of Chinese demand really seems to be weighing on. It also is about the strength in US dollar, the global economic slowdown fears. All of that seems to be bothering this sector especially.
All right, Manisha, thanks a lot for filling us in with all of that action from the world of commodities. We are going to wind down on the show with the news that Asian markets are trading with significant cuts this morning. The SGX Nifty indicating a 75-point pullback at the start of the session. Thanks for tuning into Power Breakfast. We have Bazaar Morning Call up in 2.